Hi, it's Sandra here again, and a birthday's coming up. I do keto. Of course, my husband don't need keto, but he likes to eat sugar-free because sugar is actually not healthy and it feeds cancer, and so he tries to stay away from it, even though he wears the same size pants so he wore when we got married 46 years ago almost. So he really don't need it. He's 36 pants, always has been. But I struggle with my weight. I was over 200 pounds. I've been on keto. That was in 2004. And I did Atkins back then. Well, then I was on keto after that because that's what it's called now. Atkins is just a form of low carb. Keto is a form of low carb. So I have to stick with low carb or else I'll be over 200 again pounds. And that's not good. So it's my husband's birthday tomorrow. He is going to be, let me think, 68. So I'm going to make, my mom wants to have a little surprise birthday party for him. Well, my mom don't cook. But since my mom's going to be there, I'm going to do it low sodium because for her. For us, I just use regular salt. For her, whenever I do anything for her, I use the no salt. And I'm going to make a birthday cake. I'm not making chocolate. Chocolate's my favorite, but my mom can't tolerate chocolate. So we are going to do a spice cake, and it's going to be a zucchini spice cake. So zucchini makes your gluten-free and your other, low carb, your gluten-free, all of that moisture. So it's always good to either banana or zucchini or something. Pumpkin, I've made recipes using pumpkin, but I happen to have zucchini already sliced up, and it's right at a cup and a half if I pack it. So it's just the perfect amount, and that's what it calls for. So we are going to start off by, I'm going to put the wet ingredients in here first, which is I've got 2 eggs in here, and then I need my oil, which is coconut oil and then melted in the microwave, and it's a half a cup of coconut oil. And then I'm going to add my vanilla, which is a teaspoon and a half of vanilla, and we're going to just kind of stir this together. And I am going to add the zucchini, because you can add it now or you can add it after. It really doesn't matter, but it's kind of has the moisture in it. So this is not real moist because it's fresh. I do freeze a bunch of it so that I can make this all winter long. But when I freeze it and thaw it out, I pour the liquid off because otherwise it's just too runny. So we're going to start off with that. Then we are going to start adding our dry ingredients. It actually said that we are supposed to mix it separately. So I'm going to grab another bowl. So here I am with another bowl to put all my dry ingredients in. I have a half a cup of coconut flour. It calls for either a third to a half a cup. Then I am going to add 1 cup of almond flour. So that's going to be our flours. The coconut flour is going to take moisture out. The almond flour don't do that, but that's the reason why we've got both ingredients in there, is one to dry it out a little. Then we're going to put in our, we have a half a teaspoon of xanthan gum, a teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of baking powder, and then, like I said, I'm using no salt instead of salt, and that is a half a teaspoon of no salt I'm using. It should turn out exactly the same way. Then I'm going to put my spices in. We've got a teaspoon of ground cinnamon and a quarter of a teaspoon ground nutmeg and an eighth of a teaspoon of ground cloves. So that's going to be our spices for our spice cake. And we're going to stir that together, and that there way our spices will already be stirred in when we stir it into our wet ingredients here. So we can actually add our sugar to the wet ingredients, and that'll be fine because that basically will just melt. And I'm not using sugar. I happen to be using this ethanol monk fruit. Usually I try to buy the monk fruit with ethanol. This is the opposite way around, so it's got less of the monk fruit, more of the other. But Costco don't have it. Walmart don't have it. This is what they had. So I don't like it as good. I like the other a lot better, but if you don't have it, you don't have it. And I can't get it. So we'll add that. It's when I use it, this sugar in like my creamy cucumbers, it's grainier than what the other is. So that's why in this cake it might be grainy like sugar. So might be fine. So now we're going to just add this. And now this actually says that it's for cupcakes. And it's going to seem like it's going to be really dry. That's everything that it says, so. So we are going to hope this turns out, because like I say, it's pretty dry. Like I used too much coconut flour, but it's what it calls for, a third of a cup to half a cup, and she uses a half cup. I use half cup, may want to use less. Well, maybe I should have used less. Maybe I should have done the third of a cup. But we'll see how it turns out. I'm going to just put it in, I'm going to put it in a cake pan. Instead of using, actually I could add an egg to this and it'd probably be fine, since it's that coconut flour, it soaked up more moisture. I should have used a little less. So I think I'm going to grab another egg. It's possible my eggs aren't as large, so maybe I just need the extra egg because my eggs isn't as large as the eggs that she used in this recipe. And so this should fix the too dry batter. Yeah, that's a little better. It's not as runny as normally cake batter is, but this is low carb, so sometimes you can't go by that. Okay, I'm going to use some coconut oil in the bottom of and like I say, I'm just going to put it, instead of doing cupcakes, I'm going to just put it in the square cake pan, and we'll cut it like a cake. And I think this size cake pan should be just about right. It was supposed to make 12 cupcakes. Well, 1, 2, 3, yeah. And then there's a space in between, so I think this will be just about right. So we're gonna got a little bit of that oil in my throat when I sprayed it. Okay. And we'll see how this turns out. This is the first time I've made this recipe. I've made some other low carb, keto. But like I say, this time I was trying to make it for my mom. So I think it'll be just fine. I will make a cream cheese frosting for the top. Okay, there she is. She's in there. I got all the ingredients in. It says to bake it. Now that I'll have to change. It says to bake it at 350 for like 20 minutes, but because it says 25 to 30 minutes, so I'm going to have to do at least 30 minutes. I think I'm going to put it in for 30 minutes and then check on it. Might take 35 because it's got the zucchini in there and that's got to cook down, and maybe it'll be done without. It usually takes longer if you're doing it in a cake pan like this than it does if you're doing it in cupcakes, because of the small and the heat can get around it. So we will put it in for 30 minutes at 350 and see what we end up with. I gotta take my squash that I'm cooking for my husband out. That's for supper. He's out on the deer stand right now, and tradition is squash after he comes in after the deer stand. He's bow hunting with crossbow. He can do that now that he's over 62, I think, is the age for bow hunting with the crossbow. He loves it. Okay, there. I started it. It's 30 minutes, and we'll check it. But yeah, his crossbow, I love him hunting with crossbow because I love the venison sausage that we get. And I make a lot of my recipes, I use venison sausage in, like my buck snort, that I usually use the venison sausage, and it's really good. Also fry it up. You can use it in a lot of different recipes. Anyway, I will catch you in a little while when this gets out of the oven. Not that I'm going to taste it right now. We'll just look at it and see what it looks like. And then, because we can't taste it, we're going to put some decoration on it. It's going to be for my husband's birthday cake. And it's a surprise, so he's out hunting, so he don't know I'm making it. And I'll hide it away, and tomorrow when he gets in from his deer stand, we'll have a surprise party. Our 4 kids part of them will come by. Some of them I know can't. They live 4 hours away, so they won't make it. But I do have, and one's in Florida, I believe, so obviously she's not going to make it. But I have some that'll make it, and my mom will enjoy it too. So we will catch you later. Well, here I am back, and I have the cake out of the oven. I will, when this gets cooled, I'll frost it with a cream cheese frosting using a powdered swerve, which is low carb, powdered, and cream cheese. So it'll be a cream cheese frosting on this. And I don't know if I'm going to taste it before I try to serve it. It might be wise to do that, or what, but I can't let my husband see it because it's going to be a surprise. It did call for nuts. But since I think my grandsons are going to be here, they don't like nuts in their cake. So I did not put nuts in it this time. So Mom will be able to eat it because it's no salt in it instead of salt. And my grandkids hopefully will like it because it doesn't have the nuts in it. So we'll see how it turns out. Like I say, it seemed really dry. Another time I'll probably make this again. And I won't add I'll do it like I do my bread. I don't add the coconut flour until after I mix it up. And if I need to thicken it a little, I'll use the coconut flour to thicken it. That's usually the way it's written in the directions. This one was not written that way. So I thought I'd just put it in the order that it said. Well, that wasn't wise. Next time, anytime you use coconut flour, you should probably do it like I've always done it in the past. You mix everything together except the coconut flour, and then if it's too runny, you add the coconut flour to get to the right texture. And then you'll have it ready to go in the oven. So I did have to cook this longer than the half an hour. I actually set it for another 15 minutes. So it was actually in 45 minutes at 350. And I will take a picture of the recipe and then the ingredients. You've got the video to see the order that I put it in and everything. So I will do that and put it probably on the tail end of this video so that you can kind of see what, you can just set it on pause and you can write down the ingredients if you want. So I will get this put away and cooling, and probably tomorrow I'll frost it and I'll videotape that too. And probably take a corner out of it just to taste it. But then for a birthday cake, I want to decorate it, and it don't look as pretty if a corner's taken out. So I might not do that. I might just serve it, and we'll see how good it is or how bad it is. I might not post this video at all, or I might post it saying, well, sometimes it flops. It sure smells good. So, and it seems like it's going to be moist. So we'll see what happens. I'll catch you later. Well, good morning. My husband's out hunting for goose this morning, so I thought while he's out of the house, I would decorate this birthday cake that I'm making for him. I softened the cream cheese and the butter in the microwave. And I used a half a package, so 4 ounces of cream cheese and 2 tablespoons of butter, and that's softened in here. So then we also put in a half a cup of powdered sugar substitute. I use Swerve powdered, and it works really good. And we'll put that in here. And basically you can just put in all the ingredients. And then I'm going to use this little guy to stir it up for me. There we go. So it's soft enough that it stirs in really good. I softened it in the microwave for little over a minute. 111. I like to just hit 111. Or 222 or 333, depending on what I want. Now I could put a little bit of food coloring in here, and I'm thinking I'm going to put some, since he's going to come in from deer hunting, hopefully with his big buck. I've got both a doe and a buck here. I'm going to put this in here, so I could put some green food coloring in here. It's not going to be fancy. My daughter would take it out of the pan and spread the frosting around the edge and everything. I usually am the old-fashioned kind of person, do it simple. So I'm not even going to bother adding food coloring. We're going to just go with it. But yeah, a drop of food coloring would make it look a little bit more colorful. But I'm going to grab a knife, or a spoon maybe, to get it out of my bowl. And we're going to just add it to the top of my cake. And it spreads really easy right now, but as this chills, it's warm. As this chills, it'll get thicker. So, now when I did my cake, remember I had a little bit of troubles there. It was too thick, so I added an egg, and what I do with my bread is I always add the coconut flour afterwards, because that's where the coconut flour absorbs your moisture. This wasn't moist enough to use as much coconut flour as they said. And she said she used a half a cup. Something that happens if it's too runny when you go ahead to bake it, this happens with my breads, the eggs kind of separate out of it when it's baking and settles to the bottom, and the bottom actually tastes like, makes me think of when I was a girl, my mom made rice pudding. There's no chunks of rice in it, but the egg it's the same flavor. It's like, because of the seasonings I use in my bread, which is kind of like a spice. It's cinnamon and nutmeg. Um, it tastes really good, but the consistency of the bread that's on top, and it don't raise as good. So it is kind of important to get the right consistency when you do it. But I'm going to actually write it on my recipe because I change recipes all the time. And I'm going to add afterwards the coconut flour so that I can just get it to the right consistency, because I added way too much, so I had to add an egg, which was another way that we're going to see if it works that way. I think it will. So get all this out. I don't like to waste anything. So we got that out. And then if I was going to take this out and do and frost the outsides and everything, I would have had to make a double batch of the frosting. But this is going to be, like I say, we do it the simple way. This here says, happy birthday. And we're going to stick that in our cake. And then we have, these are not keto, but we don't eat this part anyway. I've got a J for Junior. And an L. My L broke, but that's okay. I'll put it in the thing. J.L. Junior Lynn. Let me get that L put together right. It tipped sideways. There. Now I've got a J.L. Move that J over a little closer. Then he is going to be 78, so I'm going to put a 7 in here. And an 8. Then we will light them candles later. And like I say, I wanted to add my cake's kind of small. I don't know if I'm going to add the buck and the dough, but I think I will. I'll put the buck right there and the dough right here. And I will show you what I got here. It's just very simple. Anybody can do it. I tipped it so my dough fell over. But anyway, it's like that. There. And now I gotta hide this because it's a surprise party for him tonight, which it's not really a party. It's a get together with family. Some of my kids is gonna be here, and our kids, and some grandkids hopefully, and we'll just have a fun time. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, like it and share it and subscribe to my channel, Natural Green Creations. I have a lot more things on. I'm going to be putting a lot more of the sweets on. I know there's a lot of people that do keto that wants more sweets. Me personally, I've been on Atkins or keto or low carb since 2004, and it's 2021 now, so that's getting up there close to 20 years. So I don't have that sweet tooth. It's like an addiction, and I've kind of been, I'm not addicted to it anymore. So I don't need it as sweet. So a lot of times if the recipe says half a cup or a cup of sugar or sugar substitute, but she uses a half a cup zoodles for me. Grandkids, on the other hand, they've got a very bad sweet tooth. So they might prefer it with the full amount. This here recipe did call for a cup, but she uses only a half a cup, the person that wrote this recipe up. So I used a half a cup because, like I say, I don't have that sweet tooth anymore like I used to. It's an addiction, and once you've kicked the addiction, you don't need it that sweet. When I make my Kool-Aid for my grandkids, I use half the amount of sugar. It's just way too sweet otherwise. I love Melaleuca's peach iced tea. And it's supposed to make 2 quart, but it's too sweet that way. So I make a gallon with it, and it tastes just like a good flavored water without being really sweet. And I love it that way. I have chatted with some other people that love this wholesale club and use the same thing and for their water, and they do the same thing. They make a gallon out of it. It costs like 5 cents a glass. I mean, you can't go wrong. I love it. It's Melaleuca's a wholesale club that I belong to. Anyway, I will enjoy this tonight. Hide it right now so that when he comes in from goose hunting here shortly, he took our grandson out goose hunting this morning. He said, our grandson, last night we seen him, and he said, I haven't been able to go out yet. Will you take me out? And Junior says, yeah, we'll go out. So he said, I'll be down there at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I told Connor, yeah, you better go home and go to bed. So you're up. He says, I won't have troubles getting up for this. So we got to love them grandkids. And all the great grandkids I have too. I have a lot of both. So I have 16 grandkids. And in February, I will have 21 great grandkids. I'm not that old. Well, kind of, sort of, I am that old. I mean, I'm there. So I will chat with you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Well, good morning, and I have to tell you about this zucchini spice cake that I made. I made cake instead of cupcakes, and I used this container, and I'm going to post a picture of the recipe in this video. So, but I remember we had problems and it was too thick, so I added an egg, and well, I changed my recipe and I have that written on it. I'm going to add coconut flour later on after I've added everything else, and if I need it thicker and it's too runny, then I will add some coconut flour. It's typically what I do for the breads and everything else, so I don't know why I didn't do it with this, because the recipe never said to do it that way. It said to put it all together. Well, it was so thick I couldn't hardly stir it. So the pan is empty. My husband just celebrated his 68th birthday, and everybody that was there said it was really good. So I had it I cut it in small pieces because I didn't know how many was going to come. Well, I ended up with some left. So I took it to another birthday party yesterday and shared it with some more people. Well, they thought it was great. So even though I had the little problem there that I had solved, it turned out great. So I am going to go ahead and post this. I was thinking, well, if this don't turn out, I won't even bother posting it. But I'm going to post it with my corrections, and obviously you've seen that in the video, the corrections. So, but the zucchini made them very moist. It was a very moist cake, even though it looked like the batter was really dry because it was so thick. But it was a very moist cake, and I did only use the half a cup of sugar substitute like the lady in the recipe did. You could tell it wasn't very sweet. It wasn't much sweeter than my zucchini bread. So if you're making for somebody that's new to keto, probably you would want to use 3/4 of a cup to a cup. It calls for a cup. This lady happened to, or this person that made the recipe happened to only use a half a cup. And that's what I use, because I've been doing keto for almost 20 years. So I don't have that sweet tooth I used to. But if you do have a sweet tooth, put 3/4 to a cup in. That's what the directions called for. So it turned out really good. Even the people that wasn't used to keto thought it was great. Partly because the frosting was really sweet. The cream cheese, butter, and the powdered sugar substitute not powdered sugar, but yeah, I use Swerve. And then the vanilla, that was very sweet on it, so that was really good. If And it was barely enough to cover a cake this size. So if you were gonna do cupcakes, it would be slim to get enough for each cupcake. But I'm sure it would, and that's the way. But if you were to double the batch, you'd have to definitely double the frosting also, because, or if you were gonna take it out and then frost the edges and everything, you better do the cream cheese frosting and do a double batch on that so that it would go all the way around. But yeah, it was very, very, very good, and I enjoyed some more last night after everybody was gone. And it's a great alternative to a birthday cake. So the second birthday party that we went to yesterday that I had taken it with, I knew I did keto, and I knew she was going to have probably cake. And I didn't realize she was going to have a birthday party for my husband. But she had said she had cupcakes. And I thought, well, this is perfect. I can bring mine. I was thinking I was going to eat all the cake, or some more of it. And the rest was going to eat her cupcakes. Well, her cupcakes was them little mini ones because, they're trying to cut back and, because they're all our age and a little older, so they know they have to cut back on the sweets. And she had candles in that, and they blew the candles out, and I said, well, who wants some of mine? It's keto. And they said, well, I want to try it. They all said that, and they all really liked it. So it turned out good. Don't be afraid to do that. Anyway, if you like what you see, like it and share it, and make sure you subscribe. And I have a lot more videos on my channel, Natural Green Creations. I'm going to try to expand and do probably more of the sweets, because I see a lot of that coming through on the keto Facebook pages that I'm subscribed to, or not really subscribed. I'm in the group. So me personally, I don't normally do that much sweets, but a lot of people are looking for something to take care of that craving. Best thing to take care of the craving. Sugar is as addicting as cocaine. So if you can get away from it and just don't eat it very much, it goes away just like cocaine. Have it once in a while, needless to say, that sugar addiction is right back. I've dealt with that a few times over the last 20 years. So, but it's really working for me, and I'm going to post more of that. I might try to throw some other videos in, like I'm planning on. Our church group did a motorcycle run up to Itasca State Park. And I'm going to take my photos and a little video clips I took. And I was actually in a vehicle following the group. But if my husband would have been home, we would have been on my son's bike. But my husband wasn't home, so I was in the vehicle. My husband's the only one that I ride with, and I don't drive. So, and that's a long story too. We met, motorcycle was in the picture when we met. I got a little funny thing to tell you. Everybody likes this. Well, when I first met him, he come out with his bike, and he had a sissy bar on it. So me, shy, little 16-year-old, never had a date before, he asked me to go for a ride, and I thought, I don't know about this. But I went because my dad kind of pushed me out of the nest and thought that I should probably go out with all my siblings. He said that you're the one that he wants to see. So I went out. Well, I hung on tight to that sissy bar. There was no arm around him at all. It was this. Well, he asked me if I wanted to go on another date. And I said, sure, why not? And he come back, and he didn't have a sissy bar on his bike. I had no choice but to hold on to him. He's pretty smart. I we laugh about it now, but back then I was a little nervous about it. And I've overcome my shyness, as you can tell. So, but yeah, like it and share it, and I'll throw in more little tidbit stories on some of my videos that I share. So it was nice being on, and like it and share it, like I say, and subscribe, and check out all the videos. It's really kind of fun doing this. I hope you're enjoying watching. So thank you for watching.